All right, I got another one for you guys. This comes from Bounding Into Comics. Ubisoft touts subscription services as the future of gaming, says players need to start feeling comfortable with not owning their games. Uh, First and foremost, this is not the way forward. We need to push back against this model, this subscription model, these live services where you pay a monthly fee to play games. If you recall, with the whole shift to this kind of a model with like visual medium like TVs and movies. At that point, the quality just dropped right off, and it's never come back since. They have trouble making money, and yet everybody seems to be jumping on this bandwagon. And here's Ubisoft trying to do the same thing in gaming. I just see this as a bad move. I mean, the quality has suffered every time an industry has moved to this model. Think back to music, think back to even print medium. It's just not the way forward. It's not the way to do things. Gaming is kind of the last bastion of that high quality art form of putting real effort into making something that has an impact, and arguably not so much anymore, but still, yeah, it seems like it's the last bastion, and we really need to push back against it to keep gaming pure, to keep these kind of cash grabby tactics out of our hobby. So definitely not a good thing. But yeah, let's just get into the article here, and then I'll talk a little more about that down the road. So in offering his support for the dystopian concept of you will own nothing and be happy, Ubisoft Director of Subscriptions Philippe Tremblay has opined that not only is the subscription-based service model an overall boon to the video game industry, but that the main factor is standing in its widespread adoption by developers is the fact that players still prefer having and owning their own games. Obviously, we do. Tremblay shared his anti-consumer take on the medium's future following the announcement that Ubisoft's own in-house subscription services would be rebranded under the collective banner of Ubisoft Plus Premium. So that is obviously where this is all coming from. You know, they're pushing real hard to get you involved in their ecosystem, to get you trapped in that ecosystem so that you have to stay with Ubisoft Plus Premium forever, basically. So yeah, they're kind of rebranding this and kind of pushing this new model. It's kind of a two-tiered thing. There's premium and there's classic. Premium is like $18 a month. Classic is $8 a month. And premium is your day one releases, your early access stuff, rewards and all that stuff. And then the classics is more of a curated back catalog of their older games. So $8 a month for older games, $18 a month for their whole catalog. Seems a little steep to me. But then again, you know, that way they're making a lot more money off of you. $18 times 12 is a heck of a lot more money than you'd probably be spending on buying Ubisoft games over the course of that period of time. So yeah, of course it's going to be a boon to them at $18 a month. Little developers, indie developers, they're not going to be able to take advantage of this. And it's going to, you know, it's going to push out smaller developers. It's going to push out smaller creators, just like everything else has. And yeah, that's kind of how this is going. Yeah, it's not good. But they keep saying, oh, well, you'll have access and you'll have your save file. It'll always be there. It'll always be accessible. And you just gotta, you know, trust us is kind of the model. But yeah, I mean, I don't see many people trusting Ubisoft these days. But you know, what are you going to do? Another interesting aspect he said is, that this is mainly like people that wouldn't be buying their games normally. So he says, proving to be a way for gamers to access our worlds who perhaps weren't inclined to purchase. These players are brand new, he asserted. We're shaking hands for the first time. It's been Ubisoft's strategy for as long as I've been here to try and reach more players with the franchises that we have. So I'm happy as the leader of this product to be able to deliver on that. I'm not entirely sure that that's true. I mean, I guess that makes sense because if you're paying for the service, you're going to try different games that you probably wouldn't try normally. But still, I mean, you could do that with a demo, honestly. I mean, I don't know why they're not doing it. Well, I know why they're not doing it with a demo, because a demo doesn't make them money. But these subscription models certainly do. He also said, as far as like the resistance to move to this model, one of the things we saw is that gamers are used to a little bit like DVD having and owning their games. That's the consumer shift that needs to happen, he declared. They got comfortable with not owning their CD collection or their DVD collection. That's a transformation that's been a bit slower to happen in games. As gamers grow comfortable in that aspect, you don't lose your progress. If you resume your game at another time, your progress file is still there. That's not been deleted. You don't lose what you've built in the game or your engagement with the game. So it's about feeling comfortable with not owning your game. I still have 2 boxes of DVDs, he argued. So, hypocritical much? I definitely understand the gamer's perspective with that, but as people embrace that model, they will see that these games will exist, the service will continue, and you will be able to access them when you feel like. That's reassuring. I don't know that that is very reassuring, to be perfectly honest. But it's all a matter of perspective. I mean, my perspective is that they're Ubisoft and they've been doing this for a while. It makes sense for them to kind of push this model and get it out there. But in reality, what's going to happen when you're subscribed to this? What happens when you're a part of this model and they decide, well, Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, like the footage that I've got here. Well, we don't want to do that. We're rehashing it. We're going to re-release it. We're going to remaster it. So we're going to take that off of Ubisoft Classic for the remaster to come out on Premium. So all of a sudden, all the Classic people, they completely lose out because their game is gone from the platform. They can't play it anymore. That save file that existed, it doesn't matter anymore because you can't play the game. What happens when you stop subscribing? Does the save file still stay there? So that when you come back to it, does that still get reinstated? Can you still pick up where you left off? These are all questions that nobody seems to be interested in answering, at least from Ubisoft's perspective. So I'd like to know. But I mean, honestly, this is a no-go for me just from the fact that you're trusting them to keep this service around, one, and to keep the games on the service that are on the service, two. More than a few times we've seen these games just disappear from marketplaces, never to be seen again because they're doing a remaster, because they're doing a re-release. And all of a sudden nobody can play the game anymore. We've seen live service games or constant connection games. When those services get shut down, the games stop functioning. These things need to be modified. These things need to change. You need to be able to trust Ubisoft, and I don't think anybody trusts Ubisoft to do that. So I suspect that these games are going to disappear, that this service, as soon as it becomes not profitable, which it certainly won't be, it'll get shut down, and then all of the games that you had played on it are gone. All that progress, it doesn't exist anymore. Whereas if you own the game, that's where your game ownership comes from. I mean, you have the ability to fire that back up, 5-10 years from now and play it again. And Steam has done a fairly good job of this. Even though they've taken things off the store, I've noticed that, at least in my experience, those games that they've pulled from the store, you can still install and play if you bought them. So that is something that is commendable on Steam's part. And then GOG is like the trailblazer in this. GOG has been able to take that DRM-free approach, where when you buy a game on GOG, you own the data, you own the code, you own the ability to archive that off, to burn it to a DVD or a Blu-ray, and stick it in a closet somewhere. And 10 years from now, you can pull it out and play it because it's got no DRM on it. So you don't need GOG services to be able to play that game again. So I highly support platforms like that. I highly support buying physical media. I know a lot of places these days don't even offer physical media. Like when you buy the jewel case, there's no disc in there. It's just a code. But that's in a whole nother bag of worms. I just don't know. Physical media platforms that really make it a priority that you own your games. That's really the way forward. This is just going to end badly. And if Ubisoft sees success with this, more companies are going to jump on the bandwagon. You're going to see these live services turn into streaming services of the gaming industry, effectively Netflix for games. And I know they've tried it before with limited success with the whole streaming aspect. And they did mention that this is going to have some aspect of streaming, but a lot of this is not going to be that, it seems. But yeah, I mean, it's an interesting change in tone. And I don't think it's going to happen for Ubisoft, and I hope it doesn't, because this is just a bad way forward, and we need to, like I said, push back against it. So let me know what you guys think in the comments about this. You going to be signing up for Ubisoft Plus Premium, or are you going to pass on all this live service stuff and just keep buying the games that you want to buy and playing them when you want to play them? Let me know in the comments, and if you like these kind of vids, subscribe to the channel, and I will talk to you guys later.